Earlier today, I posted a small post about comfort and our right to be comfortable in spaces and places regardless of our upbringing and regardless of whether we were brought up in a culture or indoctrinated to where our comfort is a luxury. And I had a connection who is on my Facebook say, well, is this a political post disguised as a spiritual post? And I thought to myself, it's neither. This is a psychological, and this is a basic human needs. But to each their own. And it reminded me of the political climate right now and what me as a self-proclaimed centrist libertarian, I'm definitely more in libertarian centrist. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a liberal. You can't put me on either side of the spectrum that far. I do believe in equality. I believe in basic human rights, and I believe in freedom for all, no matter what that looks like, whether that's abortion, whether that's guns, a freedom to drink a 32-ounce glass of soda if I wanted to and kill myself. Obviously, those aren't my personal choices, but those are my leanings. And I don't normally get political on here, but lately I've been noticing a trend that is concerning to me. And I noticed before, this last year, I was really surprised as far as the demographic of my particular Facebook friends and the amount of people that were voting either way and for different reasons, and their voting being mistaken for them believing in something else, when the reality is the majority of us, how about I'll speak for myself? I'll speak for myself and most of my friends. Myself and most of my friends weren't 100% happy with any candidate and I personally haven't been 100% happy with any candidate as far as voting for them since Obama. But I had a lot of surprises as far as some friends of mine, especially in the spiritual community, political leanings, and I wanted to get curious about that, and I wanted to lean in more. And when I leaned in more, I was pleasantly surprised that my friends' leanings couldn't be taken insofar as the way that we our primal minds like to take things in black and white. And my getting curious allowed me to be present with somebody else's leanings without making it a personal attack on me. However, in this last week, I've seen posts specifically about gender identity that were very concerning to me, that made me understand that some of my connection on Facebook, political leanings, were more than what I thought they were more prejudiced and full of bigotry and lacking compassion than I thought. And I wanted to get on here because I'm not somebody that usually unfriends people that I know and love, so that's not going to happen anytime soon. What I would do is strike up a conversation with someone if they were leaning in the direction of prejudice against the friends in my community and the deep connections, including myself, who consider ourselves queer in one way or the other, whether that's sexual orientation or whether that's gender identity. And what I've realized in these past couple of years is that the majority of your mainstream demographic, let's call them white, Anglo, Saxon, in a certain generation as well, haven't even had the exposure to the point where they understand that sexual orientation is distinctly different than gender than gender identity. And I didn't even know that myself until I started to explore that within myself and discovered that I was a two-spirit individual and that I, in fact, felt like a man inside of a woman's body. And if I wasn't born with female genitalia, I would most likely be a trans woman. That's a side story. But what I want to get to is these memes that are being passed around about, oh, thank God, deep breath, sigh of relief that we're back to a two-gender culture, and how hurtful that is, how ignorant it feels, and that I don't have tolerance for that. I don't have tolerance to open up a conversation that has been opened for now publicly for 100 years, and to go back in time as far as tolerance around my brothers and sisters, including myself, who are in the queer community. So I just deleted, and I didn't have any anger around it. I just thought, oh, that's too bad. You know, it's too bad that person feels that way, and I can't support having a connection with someone that does feel that way. I'm very protective of my brothers and sisters who are people of color. I'm very protective of my brothers and sisters who are immigrants, very protective of my brothers and sisters who are queer. And I'm very protective of my brothers and sisters who have other leanings, whether they feel like that's okay or not okay, but keep that to themselves out of respect for other people's choices, you see. So that's the distinction I want to make. If you're a friend of mine and you're posting, things like that, I would private message you, and I would say, hey, like, what did you mean by this? Did you know that that was very hurtful? You know, where are you in this scape? And again, if somebody's political leanings are in that direction, I don't have a problem with that. I have a problem with passing around memes and videos that are hateful, and that's either way you look at it. I also prefer that people not expressly demonize any human, regardless of their political leanings. That's just a preference. But when it comes down to who somebody is, who they identify as versus the way they're being in the world, for instance, if you could cite, okay, this individual person has done X, Y, and Z, and this is how it negatively affects me, like, by all means, you know, go all at it on your Facebook. But demonizing a group of people and further perpetuating the us versus them mentality is really painful to watch. And I understand in our spiritual community that we're open to, okay, we already know this is going to be a big time of polarization. All of our shadow and dark aspects are going to come to surface. And to speak directly to, you know, my connection this morning that had shared, you know, I hope this isn't a political post, you know, disguised as a spiritual post. And again, it was neither. It wasn't meant to be either. I don't think that gender identity should be a political issue, but it must be. I don't think it should be, because I think that we should be grown up enough to where we can realize the disparity that our brothers and sisters in the queer community, our brothers and sisters who are minorities, people of color, and those that are have different immigration status. I don't think it should be political. I think we as a community should accept them as a community. I don't think it should have to be political. No, not at all. I would love for it just to be that we're all so caring and loving and open that we accept each other's choices, especially when they don't affect us, right? And some of you might say, well, I didn't get that job at Walmart because, you know, a person of color got it over me because of DEI programs or whatever. Well, okay, let's have a conversation about that. Let's have a conversation about your own feelings, about like a vulnerable conversation about how it affects you versus calling out an entire demographic and saying that the I could get into this for probably 10 minutes, but let me digress. What is not okay with me is bigotry. What is not okay with me is calling out a group of people when you don't even have a single friend that is inside that demographic, and you don't know a single soul to the core of their heart, and are now relieved that the government is making a political, legal stance against an entire demographic that you haven't even chosen to learn to get to know. So now, let me, in the spirit of curiosity, open myself up, and I probably will regret this, to a very polite and loving conversation. If you are one of those people that is concerned about multiple genders being honored and multiple gender expressions being honored, that is 100% open and acceptable on my page, in my community. But again, blatant memes and videos that are meant to just be hurtful, I'm not okay with that. I can't be connected to that, and I won't be associated or connected to that on this page. And I get to decide because it's my page. So there. All right. Love you. Mwah.